Hello, everyone. Thanks for listening to Vitamae podcast. I'm happy to recommend using Anchor.fm as my podcast tool. It's a free tool. It automatically publishes your podcast to Spotify. You may manually submit your podcast to Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, Castbox.fm, and others. It is straightforward to use from your mobile phone application or computer and laptop browser. You can invite friends and record when ready and more. You may also monetize by recording guided ads that you select per episode. Join in on the fun of sharing your experiences and stories and download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Again, that's anchor.fm. Thank you.
All right. Well, welcome to Vitamae podcast. It's been a while. I know some of you have been waiting for a new episode. My last episode was episode 13, and today is April 30th already. Can you believe it? It's May almost already. It's almost my birthday. I'm almost 44. Time is flying by, but I do want to introduce a special guest right now, Trena Bolden Fields. She's here to share her work, and a lot of it she's been supporting many clients, and it's all about finding purpose in your life. I know many of us have been in those conversations, doing some soul searching, trying to figure out what's our next move. Should we stay where we're at or do something else that's going to be more meaningful? So, Trina, do you want to give an introduction and explain what you do and who you are?
Sure, I would love to. Thank you so much for inviting me and having me on your podcast. I'm super excited to be here. I am Trena Bolden Fields. I'm a values and vision coach, and I help my clients to generate multiple five figures in the first 3 months of working with me. And the topic that we're talking about, finding your purpose and stepping into it, is something that is really important to me and that I talk with my clients about quite a bit.
Awesome. So while on it, I want to ask, what inspired you to do this job? What made you more dedicated to this type of role and effort?
To coaching people. That's a really good question. And what I go back to what I was finding growing up as a young person, being in college. A number of times people would come to me and ask me questions. They would ask me for life advice a lot of times throughout my life. And I would be the one giving that life advice all the time. I would be the one people were coming to talk about what they were facing and how they could move forward or get out of a certain situation. How could they create a career they wanted? And so I found myself doing that quite often, and went to, now, mind you, I was a performing artist and spent a lot of time on stage doing film work, commercial work. And then to find myself being in the place of helping people more often than not. So I decided to go and get my master's degree in psychology. I did educational psychology, counseling, and career work. So I spent a lot of time engaging with people about their goals in higher ed, counseling them on their career, doing career development and leadership training and facilitating. And it was just a natural progression for me to step into coaching.
Beautiful.
Mhm.
Now, I'm curious because you said you're in performing arts. How long did you do performing arts before you decided to do this type of role?
Well, I was doing performing arts, and it was it was a dual career, doing performing arts and helping people. So there are times where I was um, acting on stage and going to advise someone on their career and their next step. So I have a 25-year career as an actor, and now I spend most of my time coaching.
Nice. Did you always think that you were going to do the performing arts or being an actor?
Yes, I had planned to do that. I wanted to do that as a career, and I did that and enjoyed it. Had an impressive resume. Was able to perform in 3 countries total,
Three
and
countries.
yes, definitely. So I've been able to perform in different places and different countries and different states as well.
Wow. So what do you think was very helpful as you were going through, starting up and, anybody that's interested, maybe, being in this type of field, what do you think was very helpful for you to become successful as you are now going through the process?
going through the process and getting to where I am now, I think it's really important. Actors are very disciplined and dedicated. And so the discipline and dedication is important when you're going and wanting to go after your dreams. I think a lot of times people get frustrated and they give up. And if it's something that you want, if it's something that you can see yourself doing, that you can see it and it's a vision, you have to do the work to put it in, to put the work in to get to where you need to be. And there may be times where you just need to shift one little thing so that you can move forward. And I think that crosses over, and not just performing arts, but with people wanting to do something in life, build a career, start a business, get a job that they would like to have. It's developing that discipline and dedication, really the commitment to what you want to put forth.
Okay.
Mhm.
So were you always very disciplined about it, or did it take some time before you were able to have that type of mindset and practice?
Well, I think I was a disciplined from a young child. I knew whatever it was that I wanted, I would take action to go after it.
Mhm.
And it was a plan. It was something that I put into place. And yes, it did take time. I knew I wanted to be a performing artist. And I decided to get training and education so that I could have the kind of career that I wanted. So when you ask that question, like, did I always know? Did I just, how did I get into it? Really, was it the discipline that helped me? It was the discipline, it was the training, it was the dedication, and it was the follow through.
Mhm. Did you do you feel that you also had support groups, family, or anybody, communities that help you get to that point? Do you
Yeah,
have any role models or anything?
yeah, engaging with support is always helpful. I had family who encouraged me in my art form and would come out and to support my work. And I think it's always good to get around a network who can be supportive. Now, there are times where you have a network that is not. And I think that if that's the case, you have to believe in yourself and still take action to achieve your goals and your dreams. Because there may be people who may not believe you can do it, but your life isn't for them. Like my life wasn't for my mom to live or for my sister to live. It was for me to live, and I was very clear about that growing up. And I made choices and decisions that I felt would benefit the career path that I wanted to be on. No matter
Okay.
what anybody said, I made a decision that I was going to do what I enjoyed doing.
Did you say anything to yourself? Because I know many, at least the ones that I'm acquainted, they do hear that negative voice themselves, right? Where they're, depending on their upbringing, they feel that they're repeating things in their heads that limit them. What did you have to say anything to yourself to, let's say, for whatever reason, something negative came? Do you tell yourself something?
Yeah, definitely. Because I mean, don't get me wrong. Negative voices are there because there has been somewhere in my life somebody who has told me that I couldn't do whatever it was I wanted to do, or maybe I couldn't. I've had people tell me that I couldn't sing. Why am I trying to sing now? Mind you, I've done so many musicals in my career. And when I was growing up as a child, I had friends tell me that I sounded horrible as a singer, right? But one of my first professional shows was me singing a song. I had to sing a solo. And then from then on, I did 3 other musicals,
Wow.
right? I
That's amazing.
right? So it didn't serve me well to believe anything they said,
There
right?
you go. That's
Right?
a great example. I mean, I'm glad. That's why I asked it, because I know that, people perceive different things of you or expect different things. How do you overcome negative feedback? So, well, you shouldn't do this, right? Should you try it still?
Right. You have to take action anyway,
Yeah.
if you get that negative feedback from certain people. I think the thing to really keep in mind that people, yeah, there are people who have things that they see, things that they can share with us. Sometimes people are right, and sometimes people are wrong. And I think being mindful of that your life and your trajectory where you want to go, nobody can really set that for you. It's only if you allow it to be
Mhm.
set. Nobody knows the plans that I say that God has for us. Nobody knows the route that we're here to take. And that's for us to know. That's our spiritual journey. That's our inward journey. That's our connection that we need to make, and the actions we need to make our life possible, and what we want possible, to take action on that. Definitely.
Well, I like that you say that you own it and you decide the direction, because I feel like I know there are folks out there that, me myself, we tend to ask for feedback, right? But
Right?
then when you have too much, sometimes it can be overwhelming where you don't even decide for yourself and you let others decide for you.
Definitely. And then are you really living the life that you're here to live if
Yeah.
other people are telling you what you should do and how you should do it?
Right. Was there any moments that you recall where you felt like you were living somebody else's life and you needed to pull it back and say, you know what, snap out of it and do it myself?
Definitely, for sure. So, yeah, for sure. I think we have society in the US, and in many places, where
Mhm,
when you get married, you're supposed to focus on one person, right? They try to
mhm,
tell you that you become one, but that is such, that's a little bit of, not a little bit, but that's crap. I think that there are two people in a relationship, not one. And if you are looking to be supportive and grow, you both need to be able to do what you love, not just one. And so I struggled with that in my relationship, where people were encouraging me, "Oh, your husband has this great opportunity. You need to just focus on him and the kids. That's trying to do what you need to do. You need to take a back burner."
mhm,
Boy, did that upset me so. And I was mad for a long time, like, "What? What? What?" So I just become nothing, right? Because of
mhm,
it. And no, you don't. That's not okay. It's an opportunity to support one another and grow. That's how you elevate and edify a family. And you
mhm,
show your children how important it is to live your dreams, to be all that you can be, and how you can support e- each other in that family dynamic. And so you make space and you make room for each other and what you're here to do. And that's really important. So yeah, I had struggles with that based on those norms,
mhm.
based on what people, thought that they expected or, would say. And I had to reinvent and recreate myself, because my husband's job moved us all over the world.
Mhm. Good.
But what I had to do was still show up, and
Agreed. I'm
I
glad you
I
stated that.
still had to show up and did it, and happy with where this is what I'm gonna do, and we need to support one and not support both, excuse me, and not just one.
Good. I'm glad you stated that because I know that's a common struggle for anyone in a relationship, right? Do
Mhm.
you give up one versus do another, or do you collaborate, or at least, weigh the options and make sure that you're both able to give each other as a partners what they each need as a
Yeah,
couple together? I think is definitely lacking. It's a common tendency to just give up for one and not the other, and at the
mhm,
same time, people become unhappy, right? They start regretting why they even got together, and sometimes it takes years before they realize it's really unfair because especially now in a workforce, how do you stay relevant if you're not also doing the job or at least doing something for yourself?
right, and you
So,
lose a lot of time, right? You lose a lot of time when that happens, and I know people will say, "Well, who's there for the children? How are the children being cared for?" You do make space for your children if you've decided to have children. You definitely make room and give them what they need as you're growing. That does not mean that you totally forget about yourself and what's important to you. You
mhm,
teach your children how they can take care of their own needs and what's
mhm.
important to you by you showing them how to do that, not telling them. So the
Exactly.
living example will show your children how they can honor themselves and what they value and what's important to them by you honoring that.
That's a great example and saying, I mean, I think that that's the other piece is making sure that the children are included in the conversation. I think long, at least it's a common thing, for many, where they separate the children completely and they assume that they will not understand or they're too young. But you can explain it in a different way where they can relate to it and be part of the team, be part
Right.
of the family, and they see it by examples because you never know when they need to make hard choices. Life
Yeah.
is short, and they need
Right.
to be aware of, the fun stuff, the things that are meaningful, but also when it's challenging. What do they do in the event of emergency or
Yeah.
something urgent that happens? Because especially now with the pandemic, how do you feel, you know, that has affected the way things are? Do you have any additional insights on that? Especially with parents, how is the COVID-19 impacting their lives even more now? What are you seeing?
Yeah, before I get to that, I do want to say one more thing because I think it's really important to give kids the opportunity to be in on the family discussion to help with what's next for the family. I also believe that there's also leadership that needs to happen in the family
Mhm,
too, that the parents need to lead by example, lead by service, lead by being the ones to make those important decisions and take an input, right? But we do as parents need to make decisions and not have our children making certain decisions for the family. I think that's important as well, that there's a leadership aspect that we need to show and grow because we're put here as guides to those little beings. And I
oh,
think
yeah.
it's important to still do that. Let your children be who they are, guide them, and help shape them along the way. I think is important. And to
Agreed.
go to COVID, yeah, for my family, COVID has been difficult for the children um, because they are not able to be in in-person classes. I know that there are some schools that are opening up, yet we're in a country where it's they haven't been taken care of as people and masking as well. And so here they're just sending children back to school from they tried to do it in February, they had to send them all home, right? Because it's got
Mhm.
bad. So now they're trying it again
Yeah.
now. And things haven't been consistently better. And so it's difficult when kids at the age that I have are not able to have their social
Mhm.
circle, right? There as they're growing. Yet, I also note that the conversations at our dinner table are enriched, that we have that time with each other for dinner.
Mhm.
We do conversate, we do talk, we do take walks, not as much as I would like to because I do work a
Mhm.
lot.
Yeah.
Um, Yet we have these conversations. We do have opportunity to check in during the day, and they have opportunity to go for walks, and we have our Saturday conversations as well. So I think it's been an opportunity to bring us closer, and that we're not as busy running from place to place. Yet it is difficult for the social circle, and we have to provide space and time for what happens, what for the conversation, for the navigating of different emotions because they are valid. And I think
Mhm.
it's important to provide space for that, and then think about, okay, well, we're here. What now? What can we do after we've
Mhm.
allowed for space and time and conversation and processing? Okay, well, what now? What would you like to see happen? And we can step into what we can step into safely. That's what's important to me.
Awesome. Yeah, and have they made any interesting revelations or given you interesting feedback of how COVID has impacted them, or do they have anything that you think it's interesting to share that kids are thinking about now that we didn't think about in the past?
I have to share my children are very headstrong. Very, so they think that I lived in the Stone Age and I couldn't do their workload, right? Because I didn't know anything about being online and having to hand in assignments online like they do now. But we have to remind them, well, you didn't have to write every sentence down from the board into a notebook and keep all these copious pages of notes written by hand either,
You
did you?
can't search it either. There's no going back. You gotta manually peel the pages. You can't do a search.
Right, right, sitting in the library looking through encyclopedias, right, over and over, all of this research. Yeah, you just got it at your fingertips. So now It was a little bit different. So, so we have those conversations, and I think that they're living in a different world. A lot of it is online, um, and their classes are online. Their games with friends are online,
Yeah.
and so we find ourselves needing to say, "Okay, put away your devices. You have to go outside, right? You need to go out and get fresh air." So that's what we're engaging in.
Isn't
Mhm.
that amazing that we're trying to let them play outside, that we're having to put effort. It's like, just go out and play. Remember how we were younger? We were trying to, our parents were trying to pull us in and like, get yourself inside for dinner. Here we are trying to kick him out.
Go play, go play. Yeah, I was not the one to be inside the house, right? Now I have to literally make the kids go outside, and once they do, they're fine, but it's like, "Really?"
Yeah,
No.
it's effort. It's like a chore just trying to like, can you get some fresh air? Get off of the screen. Get
Yes.
off your game.
Right, right, definitely.
The conversations we have are different, and I don't know that our parents can understand that part, that, we're having to peel him off the chair.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
So, yeah, so that's good. I'm glad that you're able to enjoy the moment more, or at least spend some quality time, especially for dinner, because I know there's a lot, despite everything else, that's a
Uh,
common theme that I'm hearing, that a lot more people are, appreciating nature more. They're appreciating their walks more. Uh,
yes,
Definitely less on the commuting part, so it's a little bit less stress, which is great. But more spending time with family is definitely great change for most people, I think, especially when we're always working crazy long hours or long commutes. So that's great to hear. Um, as far as your work, you want to share? I know we kind of talked about that. Do you want to
yeah.
share some great things on what some things that they could do to reach out to you as far as your work?
For sure. So I invite you all, if you would like to reach out to me, and I am offering you a complimentary strategy session. And you can schedule it with me if you're looking to create your life, if you're looking to create your vision. I have a vision strategy call. And how can I share that with everybody?
Yeah, I can actually. Uh, I know you have the link. I can
Yeah.
share your LinkedIn page on the.
So it's the Create Your Vision strategy call, that has a
Oh, the
link.
link. I gotcha. All right.
Yeah.
I'll
So
share
that
that link right now.
to create your vision strategy call. And people can check out my website at Trena Bolden Fields Coaching.com. That's my full name, coaching.com. But if you know you need some support, where you want to move towards creating a better life, building a business, you have an idea that you want to create a business. I do well with helping people to take an idea to from conception to creation, and you can do a creative vision strategy call with me. If you know you want to generate more income with your business or practice, I work well with educators and consultants who are looking to do more facilitation, more coaching, and more consulting in their practice. And so you can schedule a call with me, and we can talk about how I can best help you in your next stage in the work that you're looking to build. And I am a values and vision coach. And I say I help my people who work with me get clear, get focused, and take action and generate more money in their business.
Is there a moment where people are not, you think that they should have reached out to you sooner and they didn't? I mean, what are your typical comments and feedbacks? And I guess you can say testimonials, examples that people have said.
Yeah, testimonials. A lot of people say that I've helped them get to the essence of what's been going on for them. I've helped them create a profit. One client, I helped them generate multiple five figures within 3 months of working with me. More than one client, multiple clients, but this client had the like took action in their first 3 months of business and generated over $20,000 in 2 months.
Wow.
Just doing the coaching that, working with me as a coach and taking action and doing the work that I told them to do. And to do that as a first time business owner starting, just starting, was really good. So I think those are the results that people get from working with me, being able to create their vision, being able to generate income, to know their path forward and be able to have an action plan. Like they have that from working with me that they can just rinse and repeat over and over again and just keep building.
Awesome. Do they typically work with you for multiple sessions or several years? Do you have like long clients, standing clients?
I do, I do. Generally, clients work with me for 3 months as the start. So I've had clients that have done a year. I've had clients that have done 6 to 9 months.
Mhm.
Um, I have clients who worked with me and come back after a couple of years.
Mhm.
Uh, Maybe they've generated what they needed to generate. They may go and do it, and they find that they need some more support, so they'll come back and work with me again and get more coaching moving forward.
There you go. That's awesome. So what are some suggestions you have for the audience, if they haven't really thought about it yet, why they should try, give it a chance to work with you?
If they haven't thought about it and they're in this moment where you know that you're struggling, maybe you feel like you can't get it together, or you may feel like that you are feeling like you're self-sabotaging and you're not attracting the work that you want to attract or the clients that you want to attract. It's time to get some help. I would recommend that you don't continue to go at it alone, where you keep coming up against walls where you can't move forward. A lot of times, this is the time to change. This is the time to get the help that you need, versus struggling along your way. So I think that if you're in a moment where you want to make more money, in the moment where you know you should need to shift your mindset, in a moment where you're ready to take action to create the life that you've been dreaming about, that's the moment to get in touch with me and to schedule a creative strategy call, a vision strategy call, so I can help you see where you're looking to go and talk with you about a plan to get there.
Awesome. Well, definitely appreciate you joining and sharing your story and how you got to be where you're at and being successful and making other clients successful as well. So thank you for sharing that. It was definitely impromptu. We were just connecting. That's how I met Trina, right? It was just through LinkedIn. Gotta love LinkedIn. It's just impromptu. So definitely recommend people just reaching out. You never know what connections you make, and definitely ask for help. And that's why I like sharing amazing people like Trina, because I know she's enabling, empowering people to find purpose. That's something that I think all of us always need. Don't get too stuck too long. You're not supposed to do this by yourself. It's all about being genuine and your core purpose, soul searching. So ask for help. So thank you again, Trina. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any last quote or advice you want to say and mention?
Yes, sure. I think we've talked about quite a bit, from you know living and doing what's really important to you, living on purpose, right? Dealing with COVID, shifting careers and who you need to support, how can you support yourself? And I think the most important thing is which I tell my clients to always go back to what's important to you. What do you value? How are you honoring those values in your life? And if you find that you're not honoring what you value and what's deeply important to you, it's time to create a plan to do that, to make sure you're doing that so that you can live a life where you feel more fulfilled and that you're engaged with that life and you're building to your next and what you need. You're starting to get towards living your purpose and creating your vision and generating the income that you want to generate in your life so that you can feel more fulfilled and make the impact that you're here to make. So that's what I have to share with you. And I want to say thank you so much for inviting me to be on your podcast and to be live and share this with your Facebook group. This was a wonderful opportunity and I appreciate it. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing more of your video. You never know. You might have me as a client myself. Yeah, I'm starting up myself. So
Come on, come on.
excited. I'm
Yes.
definitely, interested, and I definitely invite everyone. So thank you so much. I'm gonna end this session. I'll share this and post it everywhere. I'll add more details, for your company and your organization and anybody watching. Share, share it in your network. Let people know. I know somebody needs help. they want to be happy and purposeful, and this is one of the ways to do it. So I invite you to meet Trena Bolden Fields and get a strategy call with her. Thank
Definitely.
you so
Thank
much.
thank you.
All right, so I'm gonna end